So, hello to a new episode of Play and Explain here at 25NL Zoom on Poker Stars. I have a bit of a cold, hence the rough voice, but I think and I hope that you can still understand me. And we'll have some fun together and hopefully learn something and hopefully win something as well. Here, Ace Queen off in the small blind is an easy 3-bet against a button raise. We get called. This flop, I have a continuation bet here. I will go rather on the small side because we definitely have a range and a nut advantage on King King 9. We get called. On this flop now, on this turn card rather, I would like to go for a bet. It doesn't have to be a big bet, but we have the Queen of Diamonds, and he could have floated there with a lot of ace highs, which we do beat if he has ace jack, ace 10 or something like that. However, we might get bluffed off if we check there, so I just preferred to bet. Also, I can fold out smaller pocket pairs, especially the ones that don't have a diamond in there. So that was the reason why I bet the turn there. Here we have bottom pair, but this is not really a board I would like to c-bet, especially against two opponents, especially about two short stacks. And this one here now is a bit tricky. I mean, it could go either way. Half pot is not that strong, but against two opponents, we have bottom pair. Even if we improve, we don't really improve because we still only have two pair. So I think this one is a fold here. It is a close one though, because he might just be stabbing with whatever two cards he has. But he could have a 9 or a 10 there, and in that case we're dead, or even pocket 8, 7, 6s. Even against a hand like Queen Jack or King Jack, we're not that far ahead. And so I think the fold is just about the right play in that spot. So yeah, I've been crawling out of a downswing recently. I had a couple of good sessions that I did not record, and now trying to see if we can do well here too. Queen 9 off, especially against someone with 11-9 here, and fold to steal of 100%. Look at this, 7 out of 7, now 8 out of 8. So I would have opened any two cards in that spot there. Queen 9 off qualifies as a raise anyway in the small blind if folded to. Pocket deuces in the big blind will be a defend against any position and any reasonable size, but we get a walk. King 10 off, probably one of the most overplayed hands in poker. This is definitely a fold here. Once someone opens, I don't even open this hand from under the gun, and most of the time not even from the hijack. Let's see if we can get ourselves into a few nice spots. King 9 off is just a pip too low. King 10 off, this would be the hand now that I would open, would be my lowest open, lowest king, unsuited king in the cutoff position. Here we have a limper under the gun. I'm going to tag him as a passive recreational player. That's what the purple tag means. And we do not get to see a flop because the small blind raise is definitely not going to call there. King Queen off. This is definitely a hand I do want to raise here. So quite nitty so far. Actually fairly okay going so far. Ace 3 off is, yeah, well, with a raise now I have to fold anyway. Otherwise I would have considered opening, although it's just a pip below the ace 4 that I would normally open on the button. Queen Jack off is an open in the cutoff. So I hope you guys are memorizing the opening charts. Not that you have to follow them religiously. However, they are definitely a very good guide and guide only. So I do sometimes deviate here. Pocket deuces, I'm not going to call in the small blind. I typically play a raise or fold only strategy. Now that's not always the case, but not with pocket deuces against an under the gun raise. That's just not a profitable spot to be in. Speaking of profitable spots, we have a guy raising us here on the button. I can definitely go for the 4-bet here. And let's see, this guy hasn't really shown a 5-bet yet. I will be in a bit of a pickle if he jams on me, which he doesn't do. This is not the best, but not the worst one, definitely. I am going to go just like something like 10% pot here with ace-king on this board. This is a size that I like to use on monotone boards in 3 or 4-bet pots. I mean, on this one here, I will just have to get it in. The problem is that it isn't as good as it looks because he can actually, let me just try to think here. I'm going third pot. The problem is that he doesn't have a lot of ace X, like yes, some ace jack, some ace 10 suited, things like that, but he also has ace queen. We chop against ace king, so that's not great. He might have pocket queens, slow played pocket aces, although there are not many combinations. But I still think I have to get it in here in this case. Shall I? I mean, can I get value from anything worse? Or is this just a check call? Or is it a check fold? But I just don't think I can check fold. And I think I still have to go for it here. And the fact that he doesn't snap is pretty good. But it is very thin here on the river because even pocket kings will fold. He had pocket kings with a spade. I don't see a lot that I beat here, and I don't think I can get ace king to fold. So that's why I'm saying it is a very thin bet here, and I'm not sure if it even is a bet. But I just didn't want to have to check call or then miss out some value there against a weaker hand, but this is definitely a hand I have to analyze. So let's have a quick look at this hand then. With our exact combination here, we should go as small as I did for about 40%, 45% of the time, which is exactly what I did. Villain calls, and we have the 4 of clubs, and at this point, our exact hand should still be betting quite a bit, so checking and betting small. We could have gone really small again, or I chose this one here. I went slightly bigger, but I think that's still fine. And on this river, I chose to go all in here, which apparently is a mistake. So I should have either gone really small, check, or go like third pot once again. Let's just see what the EV loss is here. Basically, yeah, I mean, there is some EV loss here, but I think in reality it's probably not that big, but I still think it might not have been the best idea. Ace 10 off, so we can't complain about cards so far. This one, yeah, I mean, he raised to 3x. I could easily 3-bet here, but he didn't start with a full stack. He is quite a tight player from the stats that I could see, and ace 10 does not perform as amazingly as people might think. Here, this is an interesting one. I am going to go for the 3-bet here, and I'm going to 3-bet to 16, which is 4x, because there is a lot of dead money here, and we only have to deal with a button raise. And the thing is now, if he wants to 4-bet, he has to risk his entire stack, because he can't really 4-bet to 30 big blinds or so, so he would have to jam, and that's why I feel confident. Unfortunately, he calls here. We have second pair, so I can go. This is one where I can go small or big. I actually just choose to check this one. I have second pair. it's not something I want to go really big. I feel quite confident now that he checked behind, so I am going to check once again. Now he bets 1/3, definitely going for a call here, no reason to raise, and I'm definitely not folding. And the 8 here. Now let's see. I do want to check, and let's see what he does. Hopefully he'll just check behind, which happens, and then we win. That's why I think if he had bet here, I would have considered folding, especially to a big size. Let's see what he had. My computer is just being a bit slow. Yeah, pocket nines, that makes sense, and that's exactly the way I would have expected pocket nines to play, which is why I think that if he bets the river, he does not do that with a hand like pocket nines, and that means that then I would have had to fold. A 6 off. Let's see if we can play this one. Against a min raise on the button, we can definitely call, but not against a 3-bet in the small blind. Queen Jack suited is a different beast to Queen Jack offsuit, so we can definitely open that one under the gun. One here, I am not going to call this Queen 3 suited, but I gave him the tag of a passive recreational player, also known as a limper. King 10 off, as I said earlier, not the hand I want to open. King 4 suited will be a defend. And we have another player who limps, this time even on the button. Capone makes it quite big. I mean, I could call here, but then probably he will call as well. Thinking of raising here because we are in position. Actually, that is what I could do. Just raising to 15 here. And actually it worked out in our favor. That's quite good. He made it pretty big, the 5 big blinds there. So that's why my initial instinct was to fold. But then I had a change of heart, and it's good that I did, because we managed to get 7 big blinds, including the 1 big blind that I had posted. So that was an excellent result for us. Queen Jack suited in the small blind. This could be a hand that we could raise. Yeah, again, this is not ideal here. I'm only gonna go to 10 big blinds because he is short stacked. He's only played 11 hands against me. Here we have an open ender. We could go big or check. The thing is, I am actually going to go big, but I don't have to go that big. I'm gonna go just over a half pot, because I could get him to fold a hand like ace jack, ace queen, though we block those. But here, now we have the nuts, so this is great. I am going to go just over a third pot, because I still think that we can. Yeah, that's great. So we have the nuts. Obviously, we have to call, and he had 1 pair, and an open ender now. So that was great. And you see, he was not the best player there. Calling. This is 5-6 suited. This is my 1 suited connector that I will open from early position. And we get called by the small blind, and he now donks pot, which I really don't like, but I have a pair, and he might still be bluffing, although I doubt it, and so I have to call there. But now he does it again, which is not great. But the thing is, we have picked up straight gut shot, which is not great either, but I think I will just fold here against that sort of aggression. And here I have to make a note that this player called 3-bet. Okay, here we're getting 3-bet by a fairly loose aggressive player. Not loose aggressive, but height aggressive really. So I am just going to 4-bet him with my ace-5 suited. And we get a fold. That's great. Called Jack-9 off. Called, I should say, called 3-bet with Jack-9 off. That's the problem when you play Zoom tables, especially if you multi-table. You don't really have the time to write notes because you are constantly in action. But I managed to get that done. Pocket 6 is definitely opening. If you're wondering when I open to 2x or 2.2x, I kind of mix and match. It usually is 2.2 from early position, but I sometimes flick in a 2x. Here we're getting min 3-bet. I mean, whatever that is, I'm happy to call. And this, now he goes half pot here. Yeah, what can we do? I mean, we do have the diamond, but I still think this is probably just a fold. Because, yeah. I mean, he could be doing this with King Queen or something like that. It's not impossible. It's not that likely that he has an ace, but a player like that might just do that with pocket queens, and then I call there, and I'm actually almost dead. Or, I mean, it's not impossible that he has a hand like ace-king, ace-queen. But I don't really know what to do with these min 3-bets when I raise to 2 and he makes it 3. That's just such a weird play that obviously only weak players do. Yeah, here, this is exactly what I don't like. A short stacker who makes it 3x when I hold deuces. But here we have the, oh my goodness, Lord. Yeah, I can't cold call the 3-bet here. Then I'm just going away. I just wanted to see if he 4-bets there, which it didn't do. My computer is at a risk from overheating. Okay, so let's, maybe we can get cooler. Well, I'm happy for my laptop to get cooled, but not me coolered. Ace 5 off would have been an open. Jack off here against someone with 14 big blinds, and the big blind is no. I mean, it was a very borderline open. Here, Queen 4 suited is just about too weak as well. King 6 of spades. Maybe we can play this hand. Let's see how it develops. Well, we get a walk. Won't complain about that. Pocket deuce is in the small blind now. That just if he calls, well, his raises okay. If the button had called, I would have considered calling there just because of the dynamics of the players involved. But can't continue with pocket deuces there against ace 9 suited as a raise. We get cold called. Now this is a great board for me, but against this type of player who's quite aggressive, I just want to check, and I will check again because I just don't have a very strong hand. And now I can go for value here. Now I can just make it look bluffy with b75 and maybe get called by a king or pocket tens or something like that. But it didn't happen. Still, it's good for the red line to have bet there on the river. We booked it as a non-showdown win. The PokerStars is now doing this thing where they invert the cards, always to the bigger one. Here I will call, it's borderline, but I will call. Check. Yeah, so if you guys know how to change this, then I'd be happy to know, because it's slightly annoying. Here, I wonder whether I want to go for a bet, but I don't think I can fold out ace king, ace queen or so. Here now we have a mandatory value bet, and I think I will just go small because there is no point in going big. I don't think I will get called by anything big. He has the jack as well, so yeah, that is fine. So maybe if I had bet the turn, maybe he would have folded his king jack, although I don't really think so. Same player now, so he shapes up to be quite tight, but definitely raising ace king in the small blind. And we get the fold. Not unhappy about that. King 10, we will open. Get called, we have top pair, which I think I will bet small here. As if we fold out a hand like queen jack or ace jack or something like that, that would be great. Now, obviously, with the queen coming, I don't feel super confident to bet again, even though he shouldn't have a lot of queens in his range. But I will now probably bluff catch here. He doesn't, so can we go for value? I think we can, and I'm going to make it rather small here, 45% or something like that, because I still think we can get called by Jack 10, 10 9, pocket 8s maybe, pocket 5s who don't believe us, something like that. And I'm almost certain that I have the best hand here once he takes that passive line. So just going for thin value against a player who didn't start with a full stack, where I just don't think he is a great player. And again, a non-showdown win here. Happy with a thin value bet on the river. Yeah, you against these sort of players, you have to bet for value quite thinly on the river. This is something that becomes even more mandatory in live poker. Here, I do not want to bet because he just connects quite well with this. He either has a pocket pair, which he won't fold, or he has something that connects here where he won't fold. And he now overbets this, so obviously I'm out. I don't know why, but he has such passive stats here, so I think I don't know what to make of this, but either way, I just won't continue with pocket sixes against an overbet out of position. That's just very weird. I don't know why he made it that big. Here we have pocket sixes again, and we call. We check to the aggressor. He did not bet this one, which is interesting. I think I don't want to take a stab here, and now the queen is not great for my range either. The thing is, I win against some ace highs, so I'll just check and hope that he checks behind, which is exactly what happens. I don't think I needed to bluff that. Yes, he had ace high, so it's actually quite good. I'm happy not to have stabbed that river, because I don't think I could have folded out anything better. But he should actually have probably turned his ace into a bluff at some point there. But I understand that he didn't do it. Here, 10-8 off, I will just fold even if it had folded to me. Pocket jacks. The jiggities. Let's see. If we get 3-bet, it'll be tricky because we got 150 big blinds deep. Yes, it's not great. I can still 4-bet here, but it's getting a bit tricky, and I will 4-bet a little bit bigger than I would normally, just because we are so deep. Maybe 22 was a little too much, though. We get called, and this is exactly the type of flop we don't want to see, right? So I will go with a 4th pot bet or something like that. Well, let's go something like this here. But I'm under no illusion. I won't fold out anything weaker. It's more like we have a gut shot. We have... Oh, we do get a fold here, though. That is interesting. So he might have had... Well, what can he have had that we folded out there? I'm obviously very happy with it, but because I just c-bet range there, but I didn't really expect to fold out a lot of hands. Because he shouldn't really 3-bet in the big blind with a hand like pocket eights or something like that, that he would fold to my small c-bet on the flop. And like anything else that he has is kind of at least some sort of a gut shot. So yeah, that was a weird fold there. But I'm happy, like whatever he had, I'm happy that he folded. Although maybe it was some suited connector. Yeah, that could make sense if you had something like 8-7 of hearts or something like that. Then obviously he didn't connect at all with the board, and then I'm not even that happy that he folded. But I'm still just happy. I mean, on that board with 2 overcards to my jacks, I'm happy to just take it down and move on. Okay, we have a limp here. I just check my queen 3, flopping bottom pair, so we can bet. We get called. I think it's tough here, but I'll just call because he might have some other pair, which now would be counterfeit, and now it's actually bad. My 3 was also counterfeit, and at this point I just have to fold. I mean, I have a queen. He could be doing this with some pocket pair, but if he has an ace, or he could have a king or even a 9. Yeah, it's close because he could have something like pocket 7s or so, and then I win with my queen. But player who limps pre-flop and then check calls the flop and then half pots the river, I just think it's more likely to have a value hand there. And value could be ace high. So if I had ace high, I would have called there because at least I would be chopping against ace high and I would beating all his bluffs. But with queen high, I lose against his ace highs and I only beat his bluffs. Ace king. Get call, and this is absolutely not a good flop for us. He only c-bets 27%. Now he goes half pot here. At this point, it's close already, but because I have the king of hearts as well, I choose to check call. But now he bets half pot again, so I think at this point, I just have to let it go. And he is a fairly passive player post-flop from the few stats that I had. So yeah, flop call was tight, close, and on the turn it wasn't close anymore. Here, yeah, I am going to go for an ISO against this player who just limps in the hijack. Now, unfortunately, we are getting raised by a fairly tightish looking player, but he might realize what's going on here. I did that earlier in the session to a guy who raised big after a limp. It's interesting because in live poker this rarely happens. If you isolate a bad player, even the good players will just call behind or often fold, whereas in online poker you get that quite a lot, that you raise to isolate a limper and then you get 3-bet by someone behind you. Here, king queen off is a tricky one because I do want to play this hand, but we have an aggressive player there. Okay, well now it's actually quite easy. I Thank you, button, for 3-betting there, because that was our perfect cue to get out of the hand. Otherwise, I would have considered 3-betting myself there, although it's a bit loose. But if I call there, then the big blind has quite an incentive to squeeze, and he was on the more aggressive side. So I would have potentially 3-bet, even though I don't think it would have been a money-making spot there. Here, 9 deuce off. Even though he doesn't go to the 3 big blinds, there's just not much I can do with 9 deuce off. King 9 off would have been an open, but not after this action sequence. Ace 3 off is too weak. Ooh, pocket 9s, I almost folded them. If we're getting 3-bet here, this would be a bit tricky. Now this is one where I am gonna go for a c-bet, because I could fold out and clear out equity from hands like ace jack, king 10, king queen, any 2 over cards. And if I had been check raised, I would have been able to continue with my overpair. Ace 10 suited, this is definitely a hand I want to 3-bet for value here against a player who has folded every time he has been 3-bet so far. And he keeps to that tune, which is nice. I mean, I know I'm contradicting myself because I just said that I was raising for value and I was happy to get a fold there. So yes, I am raising for value, but I'm absolutely not unhappy to get a fold there, because my hand is not that strong. It's not like aces or kings when I have ace 10 suited. So getting an uncontested pot there is really nice. Here against 2 players, I can't really continue. Even if he hadn't donked, I would probably have just checked. And now I just want to see quickly what's developing. Nothing much. So yeah, with king high there, I definitely can't continue against the donk with then another player behind me. So that's an easy fold. Here we can just check our option, and we do not have much. He bets, so we can just fold. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about hand 0, so feel free to write them down in the comments. Also, if you don't agree with my lines or anything else that you wish to let me know, please do so. King queen, we can definitely open. And no action. Ace queen off. So here we now have a raise from under the gun and not very aggressive big blind. So I'm just going to do something non-standard here and call in the small blind. Now, unfortunately, we're 3 ways. Otherwise, I would check raise this, but against 2 opponents, I will not be able to check raise it if he c-bets. But he doesn't c-bet, so now I think I can clearly go for value, even though we are not really... Oh, I'm getting a text here, that's not very helpful. So we have top pair, top kicker, and yes, we lose against king jack and jack 10, and obviously any 2-pair sets and so on. But I still think I can go for value here with my top pair, top kicker. I will get called by weaker queens, maybe by a 10, by pocket jacks, maybe even a 9, but no action here. And that is okay too. So yeah, I normally play a raise or fold strategy in the small blind, but not always. Like with a hand like this, I just didn't want to 3-bet an early position raise that was quite tight, although there's nothing wrong with that either, but I just felt that I could realize my equity better by just calling. I wouldn't do it if the big blind were very aggressive and I would expect him to squeeze a lot, but this big blind didn't seem to be the type, so I was happy to just call. And flopping top pair top kicker then is not the worst anyway. Here we are getting 3-bet, and this guy cold called a 3-bet. 3-bet in small blind. I am gonna go out of the way, and it's good that I did, because I didn't flop very well. I just want to see what develops here. And this is taking a long time. Come on, guys, getting bored of this. Let's play a hand ourselves. That's a cool name, Pediatric. Wonder if he's a pediatric called Paddy. Well, Paddy raises, so I fold. 9-8 off is not a hand that I want to raise on the button. Neither is Queen Deuce off in any position. King Queen. Looks like we're getting dealt King Queen a lot. And this is now very close. He min raised there, which is why I am going to just 3-bet here. But this is very close from the cutoff against the low jack raise. But we get it through this time, so no complaints there. Got another limper here. Gets the purple tag, which is not exactly a compliment to have. Compliment in poker terms, of course. I only talk about poker skills here. And this is a bit of a loose open, but it works out this time. Pocket queens. So there we are obviously going for some value. We're going for a raise. We get called. Right, so here we play either big bet or check. He can have all sorts of pocket pairs. I think I'm happy to go for the big bet here. Because we can get called by 10s, 8s, 7s, ace jack, king jack, queen jack suited, jack 10 suited. Might have folded some of those pre-flop, but he could still have quite a few of them. So I'm happy to have gone for the big c-bet there. Here, definitely folding with 5 high against a short stack open. Ace 9 off would have been a call, but not against the 3-bet. Here we can't continue with king 10 off. Yep, getting dealt a few hands that we can't play now, but that's fine. We have had a very good session so far. I'm going to play for another 5 minutes or so before we wrap it up. Ace-king in the big blind. This could be an interesting one. If VTuber Real makes up his mind. A bit slow action here for a Zoom game. They're all taking their time. I might just get a walk. Yes, a walk with ace-king. That usually happens mainly when I have aces or kings, but it sometimes happens when I have ace-king as well. Ace-deuce off, ace-deuce suited, sorry, in the low jack position is in theory a hand we shouldn't open, and we're getting punished straight away that we do But yeah, ace-3 suited is the lowest ace in GTO land that should really open, but there's hardly any difference between ace-3 suited and ace-2 suited, which is why I've just remembered to open any suited ace, and I am fine with that. Not if I get 3-bet though. Queen 4 off, I'm not going to defend against anything, so whatever. Seems like we're getting a lot of king queen and king 10 all the time. Haven't seen aces or kings yet today. Here, another caller. This is a hand. Well, what can I do? I think I'm just gonna call here because this is a good hand to just limp in with. But here we can not continue, and he'll get. Here I am going to open queen 10, queen 10 suited. Yeah, I don't mind sometimes completing in the small blind, like with that suited ace there, that was pretty good. Here, this is a terrible flop, both for my hand and for my range. This guy, I have to give him the red tag. Red tag means that he's a recreational player who I haven't seen do anything really terrible yet, but this guy, 57-14, and then not a full stack, so pretty sure that he is not one of the crushers in this game. I'm getting another walk. That's okay. King 10 suited now, and another limper here. It's interesting that we have quite a few limpers. This guy now raises, and the question is, should I try to take the limper with me? I think I might do that for a change here. I was considering isolating or just raising here, but I think having the recreational player in there is not a bad thing. Here, obviously, nothing else to do for us than to call with top pair, no kicker. And, well, look at this now. We've got all the draws in the world, and we got top pair. Now this guy goes with one big blind, which is not great. I will just call here because yeah, there's no reason to raise. I think now, let me think if I want to donk here, is he might just check behind with a hand like queen or something like that. So I'll just go for value here against a queen or a jack or something like that. What did he have? He had pocket sevens. No, he didn't have pocket sevens. This was a different hand. Sorry, that was the previous one. He had a queen, yeah, exactly. So he had the same draw as me, but he had second pair. I had top pair here, and this is why he went with the one big blind on the turn. And that's exactly why I then donked the river. Obviously, not a standard play, but the thing is, I didn't think he was very strong, so I thought he would just check behind a hand like the one that he had, but he would call if I bet. Now, the size is the question. I could probably have gone a bit bigger. I went third pot only, but I wanted to get called exactly by this sort of a hand. And I don't know if he would have called a bigger bet. Could have gone slightly bigger, maybe 20, sorry, 40, 45% rather than 33. But still, I'm happy that I saw the opportunity to donk and get called by weaker. King 10 again, yeah, I'm telling you, we're getting dealt king queen and king 10 like at least once per orbit. But here, well, look at this. Small raise, tiny 3-bet. I would not continue with king 10 against any sort of bet in that position. Okay, let's do one more orbit after this one and then wrap it up. Here we're facing a small raise on the button, which is not quite standard. Easy call here. Check. If he c-bets small enough now, we could have considered calling. This card is slightly better for his range, but not amazing. Now he does bet. He didn't bet before, which kind of tells me that he is not bluffing, because otherwise he would have bluffed the king. But I have top pair, so I can't fold. And now we have the effective nuts here. Well, not quite. He could still have ace king. He could have pocket threes. But yeah, there was no reason to bet now. Well, it's interesting that we won this one, actually. I didn't expect that. So he did have, oh yeah, he had the clubs. He picked up the clubs. That's why he bet the turn. Fair enough. But I thought if he was bluffing, he could just have bluffed the flop where there was a king rather than waiting for the ace on the turn to bluff. Because the king is kind of a better card for him than the ace. But it was good that we didn't fold. Obviously, I would never fold there once the ace comes. But I just thought that he had an ace the way he played it. But it was good that he didn't. Yeah, let's see this one here. I mean, he makes it small. We have position, and he's a recreational player. The problem is he doesn't three bet much. This is not standard, but I'm calling here just because I have the skill edge, I would hope, and this is now very, very, very annoying because I mean, overbet jam here with this hand. I mean, he could be doing this with ace king. If he does it with an overpair, we have quite a few outs. I mean, let's say he has kings or queens, jacks, then we have 5 outs. That's 20%, but we need way over 30 or over 40%, so I have to unfortunately fold here. If he had ace king, well played. He got me off the best hand. Right, so this is it. Let's just have a very quick look at the stats here.